town. It's a sea of green, it's the biggest thing we've ever seen. Thousands queuing from the break of day to see the big parade out Savannah Way. Where the shamrocks blessed, they're giving thanks. The bishops from Cork who sing the banks. Take a drink of the Mountain Dew, watch us dance a jig and a hornpipe through the door. Daddy, down Savannah Way. Daddy, on St. Patrick's Day.
Has he been doing well this year?
Oh, excellent,
Like
excellent.
he's a little bit stubborn.
Well, he's like Ansley. Ansley's a little stubborn too, but he'll be all right.
Forsyth, Barker, Jubal Street, there's 400,000 people to meet. Within the Oaks and Abercorn and hands in the drive, salute the Irish as we pass by. We got so many waiting for you. Bless your heart. Oh, man. The Sefton blues have blown away. Kingston, Green, St. Patrick's Day. Daddy, down Savannah Way. Daddy, on St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day!
Top of the morning to you, gentlemen.
And the rest of the day to you. Hey.
On St. Patrick's Day 1978, President Jimmy Carter returned to Savannah, where he addressed the city's Hibernian Society. President Carter reminded the audience of his participation in the parade as a young representative, where on one occasion he was challenged by a minor official who asked, "Young man, what right do you have to be in Savannah's St. Patrick's Day parade?"
His name was Nick Kenny.
The question still stung, and President Carter remembered the name of that minor official, Nick Kenny, and said that now as President of the United States, he hoped that the parade committee never let that minor official have anything to do with the parade again. Nick Kenny was Grand Marshal of the 1978 St. Patrick's Day Parade. Ask any Savannah Irishman and he'll tell you that it never rains on St. Patrick's Day in Savannah.
Not exactly what we had in mind, is it?
Not exactly.
It's liquid sunshine.
Liquid sunshine.
That's right.
Thank you, President. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
There was, however, a little dampness in 2003, the year Pete Kneff was Grand Marshal and Hugh Coleman was Parade Committee Chairman. Both of those gentlemen are plumbers. When the water reached ankle deep that day, Savannah's Irish finally had to acknowledge that rain had indeed fallen on St. Patrick's Day. But they do so with a smile when recalling that 2003 stands out in Savannah lore as the year two plumbers couldn't fix a leak.
The rain has picked up a little more.
Savannah's St. Patrick's Day parade starts with the flags of Ireland, followed closely by the Grand Marshal who climbs the steps of the great cathedral to receive the blessing of the bishop in what is regarded as the high point of the day.
Have a great day leading the Irish in the parade.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They make you feel so important, you wind up where you don't even talk to yourself.
All right, sir, we'll let you go and lead on. Thank you.
Thank you.
The marshal, his family, and aides then lead the parade through the streets of Savannah.
I march also with the glory of America. I'm proud to be an Irish citizen.
Ending at Madison Square at the statue of Irish-American patriot Sergeant William Jasper.
Rotary is the place to be. Rotary is the place to be. Rotary is the place to be. Give my hand. Rotary South.
Before the West was won. As a matter of fact,
in 1963, Frank Blair and the Chamber of Commerce could talk their way into closing down the Talmadge Bridge for a daytime shoot.
I have said in the past that Savannah is one of the most desegregated cities in the Deep South.
The spirit God has given us is no cowardly spirit.
Perhaps the secret to the Rotary Club of Savannah's longevity.
On the road to prosperity, a New Yorker named John Barron wrote a book, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. And it ignited an...
Charles Frazier had an idea on Hilton Head Island.
WTOC cameras were there.
This could turn into something on down the road that is really big. That's the way I see it.
The attendant, a lanky, determined boy, had spliced film at the movie house in Tallapoosa, Georgia, where he'd grown up. When he added that his skills included sweeping up, he was offered and accepted a job at WTOC.
That means we've got to have a much larger pool of pre-trained manpower. Don't think we need a much larger active force, but we need people we can.
And he had the 8th Army on the west and 10th Corps on the east, moving towards the Yalu River.
With the expenditures that have been made here since the history of Fort Stewart, Hunter, it will exceed $700 million.
Well, last time I saw you in person was in Washington.
Yeah.
The inauguration of Carter.
Oh, that's right.
A little cold that day, wasn't it?
Oh, Lord. That was one of the coldest days we had in 4 years.
Governor, you haven't given us your reaction yet on the Association of County Commissioners throughout the state of Georgia that met here in Savannah and took a poll and said that you would be a shoo-in, and Roy Harris is...
Things that directly relate to their personal lives that, to my mind, is no business of the government. I'm also having the Statistics Committee, which I head, look into some of the private questions that are being asked on the census. I don't think the federal government ought to be snooping into everybody's personal business.
Performance isn't the only reason I use N-Mark Golden, and only N-Mark Golden.
It's a life of danger.
Her at any great length for details concerning this case up until this weekend when Captain people
1969 drew up this legislation, and he named the groups that he wanted to be made members of the group. So when we brought the matter up to the governor, he at that time said that his hands were tied. There was nothing he could do because the legislation indicated who would be.
Well, I'm somewhat disturbed with the grand jury foreman's comments, primarily from the fact that they're so negative, terming our community a second-class community. That's very disturbing to me. I would hope that the grand jury, this one and future grand juries, would be optimistic about our community. Since I've been in office, I've received several presentments from the grand jury.
I think this is one of the biggest needs. The completion of the interstate system is one of the biggest needs that we have. We're going to have to...
And Southern bank tycoon Mills B. Lane's words, but they roll off Archie's tongue as if they were born there.
What'd you call him? What'd you call Mr. Lane?
Mr. Lane. Devoted father, a unique individual who possessed an enormous array of talents.
And so the civil rights movement, that's what it was all about. To set this country right. And we'd been wrong all of that time. Exclusion is not the way then, nor is it now.
When all of the disturbances were taking place in the 60s with marches at night and so forth, riots and destruction of property, fires and so forth, 14th Street in Washington, D.C., I remember so well, just about closed up all the business in Northwest Washington on 14th Street. But we had none of that here. There were some things he did that nobody else could do but him, because he would let everything else go.
There is hardly any white person who has not at some time been benefited by the kindness, the work, or the efforts of blacks. And by the same token, blacks have not in the South accomplished anything without the help of some whites. We ought to recognize that we stand here as results of our composite contribution.
A large, if not prosperous, Irish community awaited Father Burke here, themselves children of refugees who had fled the potato famine of the mid-1800s.
14,000 in the city of Savannah. And over 3,000 of those were Irish, not just of Irish descent, born in Ireland. There was a working agreement between various groups in Savannah. Certain jobs were sacred to the crackers. Crackers meant native Georgian. It could even mean, in a general sense, Protestant Georgian. To the Jews, they had their own group. They had their jobs too. And then the Irish. The Irish meant Catholic. In those days, you could come from Naples or Berlin or London town, but if you lived in Savannah and you were a Catholic, you were called an Irishman.
When somebody breaks your heart, I got to tell you about this. A lady sent me this title. She worked in a cosmetic counter in Youngstown, Ohio, and I finally wrote the song, and I told her we had a record by Tony Bennett. Well, she was thrilled. Well, she's the cutest thing. She writes me letters all the time. But she says, "You've changed my life, Mr. Mercer. You just don't know." I said, she began with saying, "People are coming into the store asking for my autograph." And she says, "Next week I have to go on the radio in Cleveland." And 2 weeks later she says, "I'm going to Cincinnati. I'm going to be on I'm getting to be so famous." Finally, she came to New York, and she was on To Tell the Truth or something. Now she goes to Europe, and she said, "Mr. Mercer, I got to work every day next week getting in." She said, "I'm tired. I'm going to get out of show business." And that's when you'll discover that revenge is sweet. As you sit there applauding from a front row seat, when somebody breaks your heart like you broke mine.
Hey, Tony, I'm Paul. I just been hired.
He's the man in the corner office.
Paul.
Nice to meet you,
Hi,
Paul.
nice to meet you.
And the CEO knows everything there is to know about St. Joseph's Candler Health System.
I'm a numbers guy.
Except every little thing his 3,600 employees do every day to make the two hospitals work.
I'm in training.
But he's about to find out.
I'm your new trainee.
Beginning in the kitchen.
It's cold in here.
That prepares and delivers more than 5,000 meals a day.
That's amazing.
You want ice these up?
So everything on the tray goes in a certain place. I can see how much teamwork is involved. It's all teamwork. So that process to get the trays together took 30 minutes. Now we're ready to go on the floor. So I have to do all the hard work.
The hardest work is still ahead.
Food service.
Getting meals to the whole floor in 20 minutes.
If I wanted an extra pork chop, do you think I could convince you? I thought if I got to know you, maybe I'd get 2 pork chops instead of 1. Mr. Hill, how are you?
And Hinchy's natural friendliness is no friend to speedy delivery.
That's my secret recipe. It's my grandmother's recipe. Yes, ma'am, I'm lying. Okay. Hey, how are you? We'll take good care of you. Don't worry about a thing.
So he missed his deadline by a little.
I know you.
All right, a lot.
You did great. You did good. You did good.
That's so he'll be back here with you Monday morning.
I'm not going to be here Monday.
Hinchy's off to a new job anyway.
Hey, Roberta.
In environmental services, which processes more than 3 million pounds of laundry each year.
Now, how many sheets can you do in an hour?
I can do about 5.
500 sheets an hour? Wow.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what we're going to do with this one right here.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, we ready, Mom?
One job that can't be beat at a hospital is sending a new family home.
Congratulations. Hang on, guys. We'll be there before you know it.
And Hinchy's special attention could become helpful in growing his staff when his patient turns out to be a neonatal nurse at Memorial Hospital.
Because this is part of our nursing recruitment, that she's going to remember this experience and she's going to call me.
At the end of this workday, Hinchy is still smiling, and he is impressed by everything and everyone he has seen.
You're very blessed. There's no small job and there's no unimportant job. It's the city that all works together so the patient has a good experience.
Somebody was telling my daughter Maggie, the little girl on the left, about a man taller than Morgan's dad, the little girl on the right. No, Maggie said, Mr. Henry is the tallest man in the world. And so he was, mostly because he could so often be seen stooping down and offering a hand to those much smaller in spirit and stature.
We got these goldfish, Shiny and Whitey, that she is named, and so we, I've got to, participate in this process. Went out and got these goldfish, and just watch her nurture them. And
I think Mr. Henry would want you to remember him mostly as a good dad, but he was other things too. As assistant city manager for the city of Savannah, he studied ways and implemented plans to build better communities. In recent years, his knowledge took him across America and to foreign lands where he consulted other cities in ways to build better communities.
Here's your letter.
Remember that about him. But first, remember him as husband and father, a dad of great integrity.
And I think that she will be able to say, my dad really came to school, he did this for me today. She even said to me, she said, can you come to camp this Friday? And I'm like, well, let me see.
Mr. Henry made it to camp that week because that's the kind of man, the kind of dad he was.